Welcome to Weather to Watch. We have heavy rain, low pressure, what would be kind of a proto nor'easter, I guess you could say, moving up the coast over the next couple of days, the East Coast that is. But there's also snow and tropical weather still in the game. I'll take a look at all this stuff coming up. Well, this is a map that I kind of put on the back burner because it's usually more valid as we get into the winter season, the cooler season. But this is just a look at where the various computer models plot where low pressure areas will be. So in the summer, low pressure kind of shuts down a little bit. You don't see a lot of focused areas of low pressure cyclogenesis, but as you start getting into the cooler season, and anything from fall through winter to spring, these start showing up more. So this is what I was just talking about. This is moving up slowly along the eastern coast. And there's also this low that will track from Wyoming into Canada and then keep on going. You don't have to take my word for it. We'll just use one model here. This is the GFS model. So first of all, there is that low hugging the coast, not tropical, meaning it doesn't have a warm core. It didn't originate out over the development region. It doesn't have tropical characteristics. It's really more, like I said, what the Northeast would actually call a nor'easter, but it's not really that strong. Although, as you can see by looking at this loop, it's very persistent and slow moving. Meanwhile, the high pressure moves into the plains here, and we'll watch this loop again. Right up in this area right here, we see low pressure developing right there. And look at the rain and snow that develops behind that. And then that thing really wraps up over Lake Winnipeg. Now, that's pretty good cyclogenesis with snow on its back end during its entire journey. If you look at the forecast, this is one model, the NAM, a North American model. It's a regional model, but this is snowfall estimates through Monday morning, and you're looking at northern Montana, 6 to 8 inches of snow up there, maybe more. In the mountainous areas, I'm seeing almost 18-inch total there, and even back into parts of Idaho, 5 to 10-inch totals are possible. And you can see the mountain ranges; those are the little blotches like this and this that show up. And there's a handful of advisories, warnings, and winter storm watches in effect. So the Flathead National Forest and Glacier National Park are actually under a winter storm warning. And then there are winter storm watches on the edge of that. And winter weather advisories, which are less serious, meaning generally speaking, those are not as snowfall intense, are in effect for just about all the rest of that area where I showed you the snowfall. Well, on a pattern shift, we're looking at one major development, really, and that is that the California area, Oregon, Nevada, is really going to cool off. That's because a big trough of low pressure is going to form out there and move very slowly inland. That's going to keep cloud cover and rain in play, cooler temperatures. Meanwhile, the ridge and the central plains just will not stop, even though we've had a series of cool fronts here recently that have dropped down. The trend for next week is that was going to stop, basically. And in fact, you can take a look at the temperature anomaly for that time, and the central and southern plains are all reading above normal temperatures on average through that week period. And you can see the cooling effects there in California too. We're looking at readings that 15 or more degrees below what's considered normal on average. This isn't any particular day. This just kind of summarizes the 7 days starting Monday here on the 13th. If you take a look at the individual high and low temperature map here, the colors indicate departures from normal. Still hotter than it's supposed to be in these areas here, cooler than it's supposed to be compared to normal out there. This is all rain induced on the East Coast. This is for Saturday, by the way. And then moving ahead to Monday, the country's kind of cut in half, really. The jet stream is changing and bringing much cooler temperatures to the plains here. Northern plains, central plains, much of the west, even in the northeast, that nor'easter is going to keep cloud cover and rain with cool temperatures there, but still pretty toasty. St. Louis will be 81 on Monday, a little warm for them. Then on Wednesday, the heat builds back up. That's that map I just showed you. So the abnormality, the ridge of high pressure that kind of goes like that, is building in and showing high temperatures, 85 in Oklahoma City, almost 90 in the Dallas area. And in fact, if we go beyond Wednesday to the period Thursday through Monday, a real high probability that above normal temperatures will ensue throughout all this area. And of course, you saw that cool pocket in California, Nevada, parts of Arizona as well. Just to remind you, the month of October, the official forecast issued was to have it pretty warm in Maine and New England and pretty warm in the Southwest. That upper level low may have something to do and something to say about what actually happens to verify that, by the way. And then here, this may verify pretty well. Pretty wet in Florida, it has been. And again, that upper level low out here may cause this forecast to go awry maybe a little bit, especially if it ends up being as slow moving as it is and hangs around for a while. On this Friday afternoon, high pressure, again, another one settling into the Dakotas. The central part of that is right there. We have a weak little low there north of Lake Superior and an occluded low off the coast. That is all connected to that upper level feature. And then this stalled front here is going to provide the zone for low pressure to develop, as you saw, and move slowly up the coast. If we take a look at the satellite image, this is the loop captured this afternoon, really broad at the surface, broad easterly flow coming into the East Coast. Meanwhile, the upper level winds are blowing the clouds like that. The next cool front can be seen right in through there, and that occluded system is also pretty visible. Look at the 500 millibar chart. There's an upper level low right there. Actually, it's kind of interesting that I would expect there to be a deeper low here. Not the case, but this thing right here, once it starts moving ashore, is what's going to cause that cyclogenesis that I showed you a few minutes earlier and move up to Lake Winnipeg and really, really deepen. On the rainfall docket here for the next 5 days, a lot of rain out here in the southwest and in parts of California too, including the inland areas. And then a lot of rain showing up just off the coast, but enough of this is intersecting the coast to talk about. Let's zoom in on that next 5-day forecast, and we're looking at the high desert, southwest Colorado. 3-4 inch totals, very common there for the next 5 days. Much of western Colorado is going to see probably a good, well, the purple is 1 inch and the red is 2, so pretty good rains. And then through the mountains north of Phoenix and through much of southern Arizona, southeastern Arizona, southwest New Mexico, pretty good totals in that area as well. And then turning our attention to that slow moving low, even though the yellows are offshore, it's still enough to produce 2 and 3 inch totals commonly through the next 5 days, starting in South Carolina and going all the way up to Boston. I didn't see any watches being hoisted for that yet, but there is a flood watch in effect for the activity in the southwest, which, by the way, is being spiked by the remnants of a hurricane out in the Pacific. And so this flood watch in effect, and you can also see that there's probably a moderate risk, a 40% chance at least, of flash flood guidance being exceeded in the mountains north of Phoenix and in parts of southern Utah as well. That relaxes a little bit for Saturday, although there is a slight risk of that happening through all that flood watch area. And then we'll also look at that 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook beginning next week. So it looks like there's a pretty high confidence that this corridor, which again will be troughiness, just basically the flow aloft will be something like that. So it's just going to encourage moisture to be wrung out of the atmosphere into practical rain. Meanwhile, even though it's wet here now, the forecast officially for late next week and into the following weekend is for it to be dry in the southeast. Tropical storm Jerry is still kind of kicking up its heels. Pretty good considering it's moving into a very highly sheared environment, but it's already made the turn. Puerto Rico is right here on the map, by the way, and it's already made the turn north and will quickly be diverted to the east over the next several days. And, beyond that, there's no indication over the next 7 days of any tropical cyclone activity, according to the National Hurricane Center. They did actually go very briefly through another name that kind of happened very quickly. Karen was used and almost done. It's post-tropical now, way off in the north-central Atlantic. So we did actually go through another name. So that brings our total now to 11 named storms for the season. Hurricanes, only 4 so far, but all of them have at one point in their life reached major status on the higher end of the rating scale. And in the month of October, we typically do look for stalled fronts in this area here, Florida, the Caribbean, and also anything that forms near tends to track more this way. So the coasts are not as threatened this time of year. There's just a lot of intrusion of cold fronts that tend to move those out to sea, even if they do develop. So that's one of the things that happens. As we get deeper into October, the probabilities are going down. It doesn't, of course, mean we can't get one storm somewhere, but in general, everybody can start to relax a little bit as we go deeper into October. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.